Good morning. This morning I've invited the student body presidents of our Iowa region institutions to join us. I believe it's important for the students to have a voice in this budget process because it's ultimately they are the ones that are going to have to live with the budget that's approved. Joining us this morning is Dakota Hogan, student body president of Iowa State University. He is a senior majoring in agriculture business and is from Grandview, Iowa. Also, Elliot Higgins is the student body president of the University of Iowa, a senior majoring in political science and anthropology. He hails from Ottumwa. And Spencer Walrath is the student body president at the University of Northern Iowa. He's a senior majoring in music and psychology, and he's from Cedar Rapids. Our Regent institutions offer a great value and a tremendous return on investment. I believe the state of Iowa has a responsibility to shoulder part of the burden, the investment burden, which is why I did recommend a $20 million increase in the Regent's budget for the coming year. Regent institutions have been subject to a number of cuts in the past due in large part to unstable, unpredictable budget practices of the past. We inherited a budget mess last year, but we were able to correct the irresponsible budgeting, and we now are on a firm, stable foundation. Student debt is a major concern in our state, and the debt load of Iowa graduates is unacceptably high. We believe our budget will help prevent some of the large tuition spikes that have happened in previous years. I understand college debt personally. I didn't get my last student loan paid off until I was governor. But I'm proud that I never missed a payment. And it turned out to be a good investment. I now want to turn it over to Dakota Hoban, who will speak as the student body president of Iowa State University. The other two presidents will be available to answer questions. I also want to thank the president of the Regents, Craig Lang, and Vice President Bruce Rassetter for joining us this morning. Dakota, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Governor Branstad. It's really a pleasure to be here today to speak on such topics as higher education. So I appreciate you guys all taking interest in this topic and treading the way forward for the future of our students here in Iowa. I want to start out by saying that we are excited about the positive number that we have seen from the governor's budget. I think in a lot of ways students do see this as the potential light to the end of the tunnel. This is just one major step in the right direction towards improving and solidifying the future of the education in the state of Iowa and continuing to produce the high quality of education that we have continued to produce over a long history. We do have a long-standing tradition of excellence within education and to continue to maintain that will take positive numbers in the future. But we are excited about this number, and I think that this is an important issue that we are talking about today on education and investing in tomorrow's students. I think that this is no doubt an investment, and if we continue to view it that way, we can come together on more positive numbers. And so I thank you guys all for being here today and taking such interest in this. And I look forward to some of the questions that you guys might have for us, but also the positive future that we see for higher education in the state of Iowa. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Dakota, and we want to thank all of these students, all three of the students for joining us today. We believe that the Board of Regents has achieved some very good things in this past year. Recognizing these institutions foster a spirit of learning, research, and economic development. Dr. Stephen Lt was an excellent choice to lead Iowa State University, and we commend the Board of Regents for such a strong pick. Like them, we recognize that the important role the Regents institutions play in the lives of Iowans and would like to see our recommended level of funding move forward. The Board of Regents, working through Iowa's public universities and special schools, list a very clear mission. Provide high-quality, accessible education to students. Engage in high-quality research, scholarship, and creative activities to enhance the quality of life for Iowans and society in general. Provide needed public services. Create and support economic development in partnership with public and private sectors. It is with their mission in mind, as well as the students with us here today, that we believe our budget recommendations supports these very goals. And I think all of us at this point are ready to answer any questions that you may have.
We would open it to your questions, and that would include the other student body presidents as well. as Iowa State President. So, questions?
Governor, there was a vote of no confidence by the faculty. Your reaction to that at UNI?
Well, I'm disappointed, and I guess I would give Spencer a chance to respond as well, because I know that he has a different viewpoint. I called Ben Allen on Friday to indicate my support. First of all, I've known Ben Allen for a long time. I'm impressed with his knowledge and leadership skills. He was the provost at Iowa State University before he became the president at the University of Northern Iowa. I had the opportunity to speak to a leadership class that he hosts up at the president's residence at the University of Northern Iowa. And I believe that the president of the University of Northern Iowa is in the best position to articulate a vision for the future of the university and make the tough decisions necessary to focus on its strengths and on the things that are critical to provide the best quality educational opportunities for Iowa students. And I believe that Ben Allen is doing that, and I believe that he deserves our respect and support during this time in which he's making tough decisions that I think will make a real difference for the quality of education at the University of Northern Iowa.
The President Spencer?
Can you say and spell your name, please, before speaking?
Sure. My name is Spencer Walrath, S-P-E-N-C-E-R-W-A-L-R-A-T-H. And I kind of want to echo what the governor has said. I think that President Allen is a great leader. And over his past 6 years at UNI, he's shown he's continually committed to serving students. And I really appreciate all of his efforts. And he's in a tough position. UNI has to make some very serious cuts. And so I think he made the tough decisions. And I guess I want to say that Ben Allen still has a lot of support for the students. And there were also some faculty that still supported him in the vote of no confidence. I think there were 53 that voted against the vote of no confidence. And that was just of the faculty that were there. Ben Allen definitely has just been trying to do what he believes is best for students in the long-term future. So we appreciate his efforts.
Do you support
Spencer?
the move to shut down the Mountain Crest School?
I think that it's a really tough decision to make, but I think that this serves as an opportunity to improve UNI's teacher education program, that we can start investing in new opportunities that are realistic with what teachers face when they go out to the real world. And I think that it could be very beneficial for the teachers at UNI.
Are you against the study-in?
Am I against the study-in? It seems to be a peaceful protest. I don't know how effective it will be, but as long as no one's getting hurt, I guess we're okay.
Okay, other questions?
I recall being here in December when the Regents made their budget presentation. It seemed like they wanted $41 million to
Right.
the
We weren't able to give the Regents everything they asked for, nor were we able to give anybody everything they asked for. We carefully reviewed and analyzed their budget request, and we recommended $20 million additional money. And we respect and recognize that, budgeting process is a difficult process, and we only have a certain amount of resources available. We put together a budget that's sustainable for the long term. It spends less than we take in. But it does also, I think, respect our priorities in terms of education, including higher education, and in job creation. So I think we have we have a good budget, but we recognize that it isn't everything the Regents requested, and we had very frank discussions with the leadership of the Regents during this process. But I'm very hopeful that in the end of the day, the legislature will all see the wisdom of the recommendations that we've made.
And it likely will mean that tuitions will go up again.
No, not at our level of recommendation. And that's the reason why we think it's important that it be approved by the General Assembly. And we're just at the beginning of the process. And I've been through this before. This is my 27th year involving budgeting of the state of Iowa. I think it's 27 anyway. 1973. Actually, this is the 29th year. Yeah.
And you're having fun.
Still having fun. But The process, you know, the process requires it to go through both houses of the General Assembly, controlled by different parties, and has to pass by a constitutional majority in both houses and receive the signature of the governor. Those are all prerequisite responsibilities for the budget. At the end of the day, we're very hopeful that the budget we put together, which I'm pleased that it has the support of the regents and the students, hopefully can be approved.
What is
I'm
this?
wondering if the regent leaders then say, if you get the $20 million, the governor requested that tuitions won't be going up next year?
The governor's correct that if we get the governor's budget, we believe we can hold the tuition where it's at. Although the governor's made it very clear to both myself and President Pro Tem Branstad that this is a negotiable item clear up until the day the governor signs. So we intend to work hard to increase that number every day from this time until the governor's signature. And in fairness with the governor, lieutenant governor, he said, we expect you to work hard to get a higher number, and we will do that.
Governor, what does this say about your relationship with House Republicans? It's not as if this is a partisan battle, this is an intra-party.
Well, I understand the process, and I understand where they're coming from, and I also understand where the Senate's coming from, and I respect the fact that we've got to work through this process. But we think there's some wisdom in the choice that we made and the recommendations we made, and we're going to fight for it. And I think this is an indication that when I present a budget, I stand behind it, and we'll work hard for it. And I'm optimistic that at the end of the day, it can be approved, although I respect the legislative process and expect there will probably be some changes. But we hope that they're relatively minor and that the main focus of improving the quality of education and focusing on the strengths of the three regent universities as well as the two special schools is preserved.
Is it your understanding that the House proposal is 20 million less than yours?
Well, it's less than what we've recommended, and we're recommending this level, and as I understand it, this is just at the beginning of the process. Neither House has passed an appropriations bill yet, and we think it's important that they know that this is something that I consider a priority, and we're going to work for it.
Senator Kibbe has objected to the community college funding level, and he says tuition keeps going up there. It's even out of whack with the private college tuition grades.
Well, first of all, let me just say, I support all of our recommendations in higher education. We have recommended $4 million more for community colleges. We recommended $2 million more for the Iowa tuition grant. I think all of these are good investments. I think each of the institutions, public and private, plays an important role in our state. And we want an educated workforce. We want people to have the skills necessary for the future. And these investments in higher education make a lot of sense. And there's always going to be those that would like to spend more or less. And I respect that. But I think that we put a lot of thought into our recommendations, and I think they make sense. And as I said, we're going to defend it, whether it's the House or the Senate that's spread. Other questions?
You, on Friday evening, signed the bill regarding agriculture, employees, farm operations, whatever.
Yeah.
There are groups that are now threatening to encourage states, cities, other jurisdictions to pass ordinances that would forbid the purchase of food products from states like Iowa that have such laws. Do you think you've opened a Pandora's box here?
No, I guess my feeling is, if somebody comes on somebody else's property through fraud or deception or lying, that is a serious violation of people's rights. And that people should be held accountable for that. That's very different from a whistleblower that sees something that's wrong, that's there in an appropriate or legal manner. And so I think what the Iowa General Assembly approved, and by the way, it passed 40-10 in the House, and about about 2-1 in the Senate, 40-10 in the Democratic-controlled Senate. And it passed like a 2-1 margin, I think, in the House. So this has broad bipartisan support, and we're respective of the fact that Iowa is a leading agriculture state. Agriculture is an important part of our economy, and farmers should not be subjected to people doing illegal, inappropriate things and being involved in fraud and deception in order to try to disrupt the agricultural operations. So I think if people look at this objectively, look, this is a reasonable public policy for the state of Iowa, and I think a number of other states will probably follow.
As you know, though, McDonald's has decided to make some changes in its purchasing policies. Are you afraid that chain restaurants and those sorts of things will stop buying Iowa products?
No, I'm not concerned about that. I think that what we did is very reasonable, and I know there are those people that don't believe anybody should eat meat, and those people that want to release livestock or mink or whatever, or, you know, we've even had them attack research at the University of Iowa. But, you know, I think Iowans are fair and reasonable. I think this legislation, which went through a long involved process over the last 2 years, is designed to try to prevent deceptive and illegal practices, while at the same time protecting those that legitimately are whistleblowers or feel that inappropriate things are occurring.
Do you think there should be an extension of the bottle bill? There's going to talk about that this year.
The bottle bill is a law, and has been. I was one of the sponsors of it.
Do you feel like there should be an expansion?
Expansion, I don't think there's support for that. I believe that we do have an effective law, which has led to substantial higher amount of recycling of cans and bottles in our state than most other states. From time to time, there's interest in looking at that, but I don't think there is a support for expanding it. And so at this point in time, I've always been a supporter of it. I think it has done a lot to clean up our roads and our parks, and even when there is litter, people like me will go out and pick up the cans for 5 cents. Now, when I go walking in the morning in Boone County, I pick up cans. So there's not that many as there used to be.